Mr. President, next week marks 1 year since fires tore through Lahaina and upcountry on the island of Maui. As we mark 1 year, we can never forget the tragedy that unfolded on that day. August 8th is a day the people of Maui and Hawaii will never forget. In a matter of hours, an entire town, once the seat of the Kingdom of Hawaii, burned to the ground. The loss of the town loved by so many was devastating, but even more tragic is the human toll. The fires claimed 102 lives. Kupuna, who had lived in Lahaina for decades, Keiki, born and raised in Lahaina, and many more beloved members of this community. Today and every day, we mourn their loss as we keep their ohanas and all who love them in our thoughts. The past year has been harrowing for those families and for all those impacted by this tragedy, many of whom lost their homes and nearly all their possessions in an instant, and in some cases saw their places of work burned to the ground, losing their jobs on top of everything else. In the years since, they've had to navigate the challenges of rebuilding their lives, finding housing, getting their keiki back to school, and trying to regain a sense of normalcy amidst confusion and trauma. Mr. President, the continuing trauma these survivors face is real. They've experienced financial, mental, and physical hardship. Many have had to move multiple times and now face under or unemployment. The uncertainty and instability have left many feeling like they are fighting just to survive. But in these dark times, what has also come to the fore is the unity of this community, unity that has provided a glimmer of light, illuminating the path forward. Neighbors coming together to provide essential resources in the early days after the fire. Strangers who opened their doors to survivors in need of a place to live. And relief workers who have come from across the country to lend their expertise to Maui's recovery. The federal family of agencies who have been on Maui since just hours after the fires occurred have been and continue to be a key part of Maui's recovery. From FEMA's work helping with cleanup and housing to the Army Corps' rebuilding of King Kamehameha III Elementary School in a matter of weeks, and so much more by so many. The federal government and the Biden-Harris administration have been there for the people of Maui. And of course, we can never forget the President Biden coming to Maui and saying that this recovery was not going to be top-down, that we would listen to the people of Lahaina and Maui. Over the past year, the federal government has delivered more than $1 billion for Maui's recovery, including more than nearly $450 million in direct payments to survivors. This support has been critical in providing some sense of stability to our communities. But the reality is Lahaina's recovery will take time, resources, and continuity of effort. As is often the case with disasters of this magnitude, much more federal support will be needed in the months and years ahead to ensure Maui's long-term recovery. For example, there is work to be done to get people into long-term sustainable housing, suitable housing, especially given the affordable housing crisis that existed on Maui before this tragedy. We need CDBG, DR funding to help rebuild Lahaina's critical infrastructure for things like water and electricity, to lay the groundwork for Lahaina's eventual rebuilding. And we need to resupply the Disaster Relief Fund to make sure other communities facing disasters can get the rapid support they need, support that has been essential to Maui's recovery. This means that before this year comes to an end, we must commit to a supplemental funding bill that will provide the resources that Maui needs and that other communities throughout our country impacted by disasters will need. So I come to the floor to remind my Senate colleagues of the importance of getting this funding done. To the people of Maui, we are Maui strong. Guided by the voices and values of the people of Lahaina, we will rebuild by coming together in solidarity. Mahalo nui loa, Mr. President. I yield.